all use some jazzing up once in a while. Recently, or about a year ago actually, you may have seen the cover of a magazine, Newsweek, which had a red hand and a blue hand holding together and saying, "We are socialists. We are all socialists." The article went on to say that we were sliding towards something like a modern European country. And
Greece.
then it went on. They mentioned France, actually. But Greece is probably worse right now. We are sliding towards something, we know. Now, we have some representatives here from different totalitarian countries, and that they have experienced various forms of socialism, communism, whichever variety that you want to call it. And we also have, Bob put together a video tape that's about Animal Farm. You'll see that, and that will indicate a little bit about how things slide, how rules get changed, how people being put in charge, setting up rules, and taking away our freedom. So we know that all these various forms had been tried and are still being used all over the world, and they're not working. And Eisenstein said something that I kind of like. When you keep trying something over and over again and it doesn't work, what you have is insanity. You might call that chaos. Well, we have 3 people who can reinforce some of the things that we know a little bit about. And when we go knocking on doors or talking to people over the phone, if we detect a little bit of accent, we might know that they recently escaped from someplace. Could be an opening, but we all have forefathers who escaped from someplace for freedom here. So our first speaker is Anna Wojcik from Poland, and seat here, bud.
Thank you for inviting me, and I try. No, I think my voice is pretty strong, so I think everybody can hear me. Just please let me know, because I have a tendency to start speaking too fast. So if I start, raise your hands, I slow down a little bit. My name is Anna Wojcik. I was born and raised in Poland. Lived for 30 years in Poland, and exactly the same amount in here, so I just hit a milestone in my life. I'm going to tell you maybe a little bit my life in Poland and how I escaped this so-called wonderful world of communists and came here. Born in 1950 in Poland under a communist regime, when the government basically ruled our lives from the day we were born to the day we die. If you live in Poland in a bigger city, when they, let's say, had like 3 different hospitals, they had what they call emergency days, when they could admit you to a hospital, or you might live a couple blocks from a hospital, closest hospital, and if the hospital who had admission days on the other side of the city, they would put you over there. Never had enough beds, so they would just stash people everywhere. Never had enough staff to take care of the people. If somebody dies, so be it, you know, that was tough luck. In schools, government basically, like I said, ruled everything. Schools, they had the same program for all schools. Being in a small village or a big city, we had to pass the same exams, We had to pass the same tests. So everything was designed to the point of ruling our lives, and we could not even breathe. I remember standing in line for everything in Poland. It was shortage on everything, from food to housing. Forget about having a car, because it was a luxury. We had no rights, we had only privileges. And privileges could be taken away from you for whatever reason. We had to carry our identification book, in which we had stamps when we left, when we worked. And everybody had to work. We did not have an unemployment. Everybody had to work for government. We had a little bit of private properties, but very little. Most of the people worked for a government. And you could not work. We did not have unemployment. If you did not work, your family had to support you. And nobody could support you because we were making very little money. So everybody had to go to work. And when you were in high school, being 17 years old, you had to make a decision what you're going to do for the rest of your life. There was one shot. And they had a certain amount of openings at the universities and colleges, and they knew how many people would graduate after 4 years. There was exactly the same amount of openings, job openings. There was no dropout. Nobody dared drop out because you had no life, basically. You could not survive. You had to have some kind of a degree so you can work for the system. If you were a male and you didn't get admitted to a college, you were drafted for 3 years to Army, and you had to serve in the Army. For girls it was a little bit easier, but even though, like I said, it was very hard to get to the colleges. And after graduating, they had a spot for you when you had to work for a government. Yeah, we didn't have to pay for education, but we were not allowed to work where we choose to. The government would send us to certain places to work for at least 3 years, paying back to the system because we got free education. And it was designed for one reason, to split up the families. Because what really helped us to survive was strong family ties. We had to rely on families for everything. So, you know, you were shipped out somewhere else for 3 years, and usually you found somebody to marry, and usually you stayed. And like I said, it was designed. Everything was designed and ruled by the government, totally. From buying food to how you live your life. And you had to stand in line for everything. It was a shortage on everything, from bread to, everything. To shoes, you had to have little stamps to get some shoes. And you could not go to the store and choose whatever you want. Whatever was there, doesn't matter. It fits you or not, you had to take it. I mean, you were lucky for a little bit bigger than you had to wear, but, you know, and usually we trade with somebody who had something smaller. So it was, it's really hard to explain if you never experienced something like that, when you don't have any freedom whatsoever. When I first came to this country and I was asked, what brought me here? I said, well, I came for a better life. And it was like, what do you mean? Didn't you come for a freedom? And I said, what's freedom? I didn't know what freedom meant. We had none, totally. I mean, to this day, if I see police behind me, I will try to turn in the first street because I'm scared that I'm going to be pulled over for nothing. They had total power over us. They could stop us on the street for whatever reason, put you in a jail for 72 hours, no phone calls, you just disappeared. And they let you out after 72 hours, and if they still didn't like you for whatever reason, they pick you up again, and you ended up for another 72 hours. And they could play this game with you for a long time. So it's very hard to understand if you never experienced something like this in your life. And we all tried, a lot of people tried to get out from Poland because it was really hard living. Education was good in a sense, and then we'll learn that there is a better life for us somewhere. People live better life somewhere else. But it was almost impossible to get out. They sealed the borders to the point that nobody could cross the border. It was impossible to do that. So we always tried to figure out the way to get out. In my case,